So okay, so let's start our today's class. So today we're gonna continue watching the video as by picking up what we left in the last class. So I talked to Dr. Patty about giving you the extra course, and then he agreed with my opinion. So I'm gonna give you the extra course if you are here. So yeah, let's continue watching the video.
Another question. It has been argued that a genuine grievance requires an hearing, even if it is not strictly in order under the contract. So what considerations, again, from the employer's point of view, might justify this opinion?
So here is the questions. So in today's class, I think we have 3 in-class questions which Dr. Patty wants you to discuss about. So this is one of them. This question is one of them. So not discuss actually. I think in today's I'm gonna give you the extra points individually, not as a group. So if you guys have any idea, then please raise your hand and share your idea. So this is the one question. Is there anyone who can answer the questions?
Could you elaborate on what this exactly means?
It has been, yeah. I think this is the so in the last slide we talked about the
Yeah.
we talked about the grievance. Grievance is another kind of indicator of the good relationship between the management and union, management group and union. So
My response,
I guess that is the this is all about the implication of the grievance. So,
We're all just like,
They're not required to air the grievance, and why would they let the grievance be aired? Like, is that what that's asking? Is it just like clearly there, even if it's not actually required?
yeah.
Clearly air probably, it would probably keep the employees a little bit more focused. It would probably keep them more in mind if like the employer was open to hearing the problem. Even if it's not required, it shows that the employer cares about the problems that the workers are having.
Yes.
I guess sort of piggybacking on what Leslie said, I guess if somebody aired a grievance, then maybe other workers that have been feeling that same sort of grievance but haven't, wanted to come forward with it, feel like they can, and they do it while it's out.
This was chipping a little bit, but it's still clicking away.
It's not just that one person, that it's.
Yes, that's you both answered the. I think he answered the giving us. He gave us the right answer. I think. So let's see what Dr. Patty answered the question. So your name is Leslie.
And Leslie, yeah.
Leslie and
Jessica.
Jessica.
my response would be, Employers need to be responsive. Employees need to feel that they can be heard. Often during preparation to make an airing or under leading questions, disgruntled employee can be led to recognize the flaw. Okay, a final question. How sympathetic, if at all, are you to the proposal frequently advanced in some quarters that only men and women who have been trained as lawyers should be allowed to arbitrate disputes, and why? Please stop and discuss it.
So here's another question. So I think this is the last question of this slide. So how sympathetic, if at all, are you to the proposal frequently advanced in some quarters that only men and women who have been trained as lawyers should be allowed to arbitrate labor management disputes?
I don't think you should have to be a lawyer. I think you should be well versed in labor management laws. You just be in the construction industry, and if you have been trained as like a mediator, then why wouldn't you be able to do this?
So yes. So in this case, you think that they are allowed to
I don't think you need to be a lawyer. Like, as long as you know what you're talking about, why would you need to be a lawyer?
yes. So basically, arbitrator is like determining. I think they determine favor in this if their decision is coming from the labor and
Is there anything at B?
management.
Is it B?
Okay, a final question. My opinion is that the law is one body of knowledge. Correct reasoning and the meaning of contractual language in the context of the industry it serves is another.
Yeah.
Both are needed. If a
It wouldn't
non-lawyer is
necessarily be at the same
used,
spot though.
they must be very knowledgeable about the law. If a lawyer is
I don't know how you would know.
they should be very knowledgeable about the application of language in the industry served. An industrial practitioner or professor can learn the law, and a lawyer can learn the meaning of terms or context in the industry. Ask experts to testify about the same. Successful, highly regarded arbitrators come from many backgrounds, and their proficiency, as opposed to their path to proficiency, should be the issue.
Yeah, that's the good answer. Actually, so lawyer is just like the a group of people who has the maybe the good better knowledge about arbitration. That's why Dr. Patty like just made this kind of question. So what is your name?
It actually probably is something
Kyle.
like that.
My opinion is that the law is one body of
Well,
knowledge.
so you would know. I don't know if you would know. I don't know, it's so connected there. I just see what it is. So the whole thing is a hinge if you had transfer moment, but if you
We
transfer.
have another slide, another presentation.
Well, what are you looking at? Who's this at?
But in the next two presentation, you will not see like Dr. Patty's like the pictures while.
Well, you know it goes up, yeah, so it's kind of getting down.
Good morning, class. This lecture will be on Davis-Bacon wage compensation law process.
Zero. Read the.
Homework is, of course, to read chapter 7. Also posted on Blackboard are a number of handouts that you should also pay attention to, read
Oh,
thoroughly,
yeah, that's also true.
and make notes, preparation. Yeah. Okay, let's begin with history. This act, Davis-Bacon, comes from the names of two lawyers that actually arrived the act, led Congress through the development of the act. was enacted in 1931, and we remember it's shown. During the Depression is when this really, the need for this was recognized. And it was because about 59% of new construction was publicly financed. And contractors that were successful would be successful by bringing in low wage labor from outside of communities in order to do construction jobs via the lowest bid. The Department of Labor has published rules, instructions, code of federal regulations concerning the Davis-Bacon, other labor laws, Title 29, and so forth. At the time, in fact, what occurred is that the federal government or our Congress decided that we were willing to, those people from taxes, this construction reform, were willing to pay a living wage for construction. It's interesting, as I attended a conference this week, there are contractors who believe that their people, that their workers are better served by them actually just pursuing Davis-Bacon related work so that they can do just that. Wages oftentimes are not a living wage, and they feel like they can better take care of their employees by bidding only Davis-Bacon work. Okay, so when does Davis-Bacon apply? By federal statute, it applies for contracts, construction contracts over $2,000, or when there are more than or equal to 8 residential units in the general contract. I.e., 8 units or more for the same contract or building site, including new construction, renovations, repairs, heating and decorating public works. The act is site-based, that applies to labor at the site. Not most suppliers, unless they are also subcontractors and at site. Preparation work in your office, materials, refabricate something doesn't apply to those items. It applies to all laborers and mechanics employed by contractors or subcontractors, and it applies to any federal project. And if the largest part of the or the Davis-Bacon creates significant rules, the most important of which is that bidders under the Act are required to pay prevailing wage in the area. That prevailing wage is determined by the Secretary of Labor. The state provides the state will decide what they want to be paid. The state does so different. Historically, this has resulted in union-determinated wages, even if no significant union activity exists in the area. They will still come up with some kind of a union wage that they suggest would exist if there were a union in the area. Contracts are then required to include the wage decision applicable to the project in the general conditions of bid documents. And so this requires payment of at least the prevailing wages and benefits. And it requires weekly payment of wages accordingly. Okay, for example, this is the wage determination sheet for Purdue University. Notice it is for commercial work as opposed to heavy highway or utility work. You'll notice that there are the classification titles here and have a base rate per hour plus this sheet, other hourly compensation, which is the fringe benefit.
for a total wage expectation that amount. There are lots of categories. This is posted on Blackboard. Longer look at. Okay, there is, as mentioned, a document posted on Blackboard, which you should review, which has considerable depth regarding problems, and which you expect to be held responsible for on the exam. Okay, some of the responsibilities of the unit of general local government. That is, the Department of Labor designates a labor standards compliance officer in a local area. They are to request a wage determination. Put that wage decision sheet, which I put that for Purdue, and the labor standards clauses in contract bid documents. They're also to check contractor eligibility. There's some contractors have been barred from doing federal work, or they expected work because of their record of non-compliance. And so this officer will check to see if the contractor is eligible. And they conduct a pre-construction conference, optionally, to explain to the contractors what their obligations are under the Davis Bacon requirements. Okay, it's the responsibility then of the local officer then to review weekly payrolls and compliance statements of the contractors. Review them for accuracy, for proper deductions, for payment of overtime and fringe benefits. They conduct employee interviews to actually go out on your job site, to talk to your people, to validate that what you have represented in your weekly payroll is in fact valid. Where a variance amounting to underpayment exists, remember you can overpay them, that's not a problem. Where underpayment is found to exist, they see this compliance officer then is tasked to make sure that the underpaid workers receive restitution. And there may be some penalties. They also maintain contract management system and compliance files, records. So, to make sure that it's clear in the contract that it is a vacant wage related contract, that fact has to be included in the documents and the resulting contract to the successful bidder. It's usually established by a geographic area, usually county or group of counties. But in case of Purdue University and lots of other situations, Purdue has its own wage decision sheet. This wage decision may be modified periodically. It's published oftentimes for 4 types of construction, but the type of construction is determined before information is placed in a specific contract. Okay, those 4 types of construction are building construction, that is sheltered enclosures that house persons, machinery, equipment, also apartment stories. Residential, sometimes, for example, there will be residential facilities on federal properties that are for military and other uses, or single-family homes or townhouses, or apartment buildings up to 4 stories, category. Then we have highway, roads, sidewalks, parking areas, and other paving work that's not incidental to construction. And finally, we have a division called heavy, so projects that can be classified as building, residential, or highway. For example, dredging, water, sewer lines, parks, playgrounds, dams, major bridges, or flood control structures. Okay, so the requirement then for the employer, in our case, the contractor, is to the classification region. And this is determined, and all the records are kept according to what each employee does relative to the distribution that is provided in the contract document. It's a description of classifications of work. They're also required to make associated pay, including fringe benefits, to keep the records, pay overtime, and they're also required to print, procure, and post required posters on their site. Okay, further, in terms of compliance, of course, we mentioned that the contractor is responsible for wage classification and pay, but it only applies to work, labor performed on the site of the construction work, or normally where the final construction actually occurs, where things will stay. It does not apply to the assembly areas that are off-site or fabricators. It does not apply to truck drivers who are bringing materials to the site. But it does apply to on-site truck drivers driving around the site. Apprentices, trainees, and helpers have special rules. These are related to approved programs for those designations and ratios. How many apprentices or trainees or helpers can have relative to the regular bills vacant wages. Of course, apprentices, trainees, and helpers, the reason why we want them is that it's money. Okay, fringe benefits can be paid as a lump sum that is stipulated just like the wage. And we can simply pay the lump sum and not worry about all the categories and how to meet them. Or we can pay them through various systems, including training, presuming that it is approved training. Further, the Davis-Bacon does not apply to self-employed owners. They can pay, somebody can pay themselves what they want to pay themselves. Okay, it covers most workers. That is, the labor, mechanics, anyone performing construction work on the site. Supervisors are covered if they spend greater than 20% of their time performing manual work. And as a practical matter, don't pay supervisors less than the kind of people, wages that laborers and mechanics, construction folks, that they would be supervising. So we plan to spend over the Davis wages for supervisors. Project superintendents, if they do work in the listed trades, must be paid at least the appropriate wage. This is not wage determination. Subcontractors may not fully certify payment of their own wages. That is, the general contractor must counter-certify that the sub's wages are in compliance with the Davis-Bacon law. It's very important to be very clear about the site of work, that phrase in the compliance to Davis-Bacon. This means the physical place where the building or work called for in the contract will remain. This means the project sites. Sites where prefab housing are assembled, and not the work site because they're not the place names. So in those cases, Davis-Bacon does not apply. Where the prefab is conducted. Once they bring that material on site, its final assembly is done. Batch plants, if they are dedicated to the project, are defined by the code to be part of the project, and therefore covered despite the fact that they may be off-site, because the code defines it that way.
and ready-mix drivers in that case would be covered. Otherwise, they would be in the category of it's an independent ready-mix plant, and those truck drivers driving the ready-mix to the site, or to the construction site, would not be covered or required. Their employers would not be required to pay specific wages. Okay, let's talk about apprentices and trainees. Only apprentices and trainees that are registered in an approved program may be paid less than the applicable wage rate. An approved program means a program that's registered with the Department of Labor or a Department of Labor recognized state agency. This is a common error by contractors. The term apprentice is widely misused in certain areas. Okay, if you're going to claim this, that is, use apprentices or trainees, then the Labor Standards Office must get copies of each apprenticeship agreement. Anyone who is not a registered apprentice must be the full trade. Good practice is to ask for an apprenticeship card and check to validate with the state or federal Department of Labor. Unsupervised apprentices be paid full rate. That is, if they're not working under another supervisor. Can't have apprentices that are on their own, working on their own task of performing, or someone that is being paid days vacant wages that is supervising. So ratios apply. For example, there might be a limit of 2 apprentices per 3 journeymen based on an apprenticeship program requirements. Not use more apprentices than that rate, a higher ratio. Pre-apprentices are not registered and must be paid the third rate. Okay, the prime contractor must include the wage rates and the HUD provisions, usually by reference, all lower tiered contracts. And the general contractor or prime contractor is liable for compliance of all employers, all subcontractors. And those subcontractors and the contractor have to post the wage decision and the notice to all employees. Make sure that they understand that the law requires their employer to pay. Subcontractors communicate compliance through their prime. It's very important to ensure that the prime contractor understands their obligations regarding their own workforce and all their requirements obligations required for all their subcontractors. Prime contractor then submits certified payrolls for its own employees. They provide the subs with forms and guidance through access to employees on site, and they're responsible for restitution to underpaid employees. So if a subcontractor does not pay his vacant wages and goes belly up or something, goes bankrupt, then the prime contractor is still responsible for compliance. And of course, the prime contractor will post the posters. Subcontractor compliance then is to submit certified payrolls each week to their prime and instruct any lower tier subs of their responsibilities and review the wage decisions, request additional clarifications where it is needed, assure access to employees on site, and subcontractors in the prime also are responsible for lower tier subcontractors. Must include labor provision in all those lower tier contracts, subcontracts and subcontracts.